Hey everybody, my name is Aaron. Don't know me or the reason for this video. I made a meal prep calculator, which is at mealprepcalculator.com. It makes meal prepping really easy, really quick, easy to switch out foods and get the exact macro levels or protein, carbs and fats or calories that you want for your meals. But the reason for this video is that I've made some more updates to the calculator, including going from 62 or so to 200 foods in the calculator now. But one of the major updates that I made is something called the recipe adjuster. So you can take any recipe that you have or that you find online, put it into this recipe adjuster, and it'll tell you how many calories or proteins, carbs, and fats each serving is for that recipe, whether or not they tell you anything about it. You can also go in and adjust the recipe after that so you can get your serving sizes to be the macros that you want for your daily macro goals. If a lot of that doesn't make sense, look at my other video for macro goals, daily macro goals, and what you should be kind of aiming for. I have a macro calculator that's personalized for you on the meal prep calculator on mealprepcalculator.com. But let's go into the recipe adjuster here so you can see how that works. All right, so this is what the recipe adjuster looks like. It's attached to the meal prep calculator now. There's a lot of information. This highlighted box is really the only spot you need to worry about right now. First, what I did is just find a random recipe online. I decided on lasagna. Here's the ingredients for the lasagna recipe. So I entered those in to the meal prep calculator there. They automatically get moved over to the recipe adjuster area. And then you look at how much of each ingredient you need and you enter that in the orange box. And you just enter that directly, and then we'll convert it to amounts that make sense for the calculator. The units there, grams, cups, noodles, that all comes from your foods in the food bank, so those automatically get filled. Once you've converted them to the right units, you'll see the serving amounts on the side. You can change the number of servings per recipe. This recipe said it makes 8 servings. Then you go ahead and click the OK or Justin Bieber button. They both do the same thing. And then it'll automatically go through and change the servings on that main meal prep calculator. And if you go over there, you can see that all of the serving sizes have been changed to the correct amounts. And there, you don't need to, you're not ever going to measure to like thousandths or 10,000ths of a cup or a gram, so you can just make it to 2 decimal places if you want to make it easier. But as you can see here, now this is what the original recipe was and how many proteins, fats, and carbs were in that recipe, and it breaks it down here into a little pie chart. You can see it's not very healthy. Over half of the dish is fat calories. But now we can go in and actually adjust the recipe to make it match our macro goals, which are already in there for me. So I'm just adjusting this until my red numbers get as close to 0 as I can, which if you don't know anything about how that works, go and watch the old video, the original video for how the meal prep calculator right here works. And once you get all those figured out as close as you can, then you can go back to the recipe adjuster and see what the original recipe is again, and then see what the adjusted recipe is over on the right side. And it looks a lot better. The fat is cut down in about half. If you look at the percents on the left side, the macro goals that were my daily goals are carried over from the other page. And then my actual percents for this adjusted recipe now are right there, and you can see they're really close. So now that we have our recipe figured out for how we want to adjust it to meet our needs, we can figure out how many meals we want to prep, and then tell you how much you need to go get at the store to make that many meals for your adjusted meal, which now you know exactly how many proteins, fats, and carbs you're getting with that and how many calories you're getting per serving. So I did it again for a couple other ones just for some quick examples. We have the chicken burritos, something else that I like to eat. I didn't have an onion in the calculator yet, so I added that in because I found out that there are actually some carbs to it. But I did go ahead and add that in. And then the recipe calls for cups of rice, which I need to convert to grams of rice since that's what's in the calculator. You can see that the foods are transferred over there automatically. I entered in how much of each food I need for my recipe amounts, and then I converted those amounts to the units that are in my calculator. I'm changing the serving sizes because it didn't exactly tell me how many servings I needed. And as you can see, 91 grams of protein, or 156 grams of protein is way too much per meal. So I'm just going to adjust this until it makes a meal that kind of makes sense. For there, the carbs are way higher than I would ever want to have in a meal prep meal. But again, this is the original recipe here. So I'm going to go ahead and start adjusting the recipe so it meets my macro goals again. And I've done that. Go back over to the recipe adjuster, and you can see that it looks better. A lot more protein in there. A third example I did was chicken fettuccine alfredo. So there's the recipe there from that website. And here they had heavy cream. And when I went through and tried to adjust the recipe, it was just so bad that I couldn't get it to meet my macro goals. But I looked up heavy cream online, and you can substitute Greek yogurt, half milk for it apparently. So I went ahead and changed that in my recipe, and it made it a lot better, a lot healthier, and a lot easier to adjust to what levels I needed. Then there's the example there for that. Other than that, some new things in this calculator are the resets on each page. And the fact that I upgraded the big formula that's like the foundation for all of this so that I can have up to 200 foods right now. It can be higher than that if I want to, but 200 is probably more than enough for most people. The reset calculator button takes all the orange boxes and empties them like you just opened the calculator for the first time, which is really nice. Same thing on every page. Here's the macro calculator if you haven't seen that yet from the old video. It tells you how many macros in the end you need per day, or a good suggestion per day. But that's about it. If you have any questions, just let me know. I know it's a little complicated at first, but once you start doing it, you'll see how handy and valuable it is for you. I use it all the time. Anytime I'm doing new meals, I'm on my crock pot all the time. I love crock potting so I can do other things while my food's cooking. It's really easy to clean up. And then I do a lot of, I'm actually recording this on my box that has my vacuum, what is it called? Vacuum sealer? Yeah. So I got a vacuum sealer so I can cook a bunch of food at one time, and it would go bad in the fridge, obviously, if I left it for too long. So I just vacuum seal it and throw it in the freezer. So I have tons of meals in the freezer. I have some in the fridge for the week, crock pot whenever I need to, and keep up with my stuff on my calculator to make sure I'm eating the right amount. So it's pretty cool. Again, if you have any questions, you can comment below. You can email me, which would be the best, probably, at aaron@mealprepcalculator.com. And you can go to mealprepcalculator.com to get all of this stuff that I just talked about. All right, see ya. Good luck with your meal prepping, and have a good one.